Today on the channel, I'm going to unbox the Marvel Legends Infinity Saga, Thor, Black Widow, and Bruce Banner. I'm Adam from FWCI Collector's Edition. Thank you for checking out this video. Today we're going to be looking at the Black Widow, Thor, and Bruce Banner from the new Marvel Legends Infinity Saga wave. And I got a lot to say about these, but before we get into it, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. We're a new channel, and when I say we, I mean me. It's a one-man operation. I'm a new channel in terms of action figures, but I do have a reaction channel called FWCI, etc. if you're interested as well. But subscribe here so we can get this one going as well, and I'll be able to bring plenty more action figure content in the future. Now, before we jump into this, a common thread that you're probably going to hear throughout these is, and from a lot of other reviewers as well, is that these are repaints with some very, very minor tweaks added to it. And what I think the purpose of this line is the whole Infinity Saga line. I don't even think it's really about the figures. I think it's about creating these collectible items to commemorate this, you know, amazing moment in cinema history, because the boxing is completely different. It doesn't even have a picture of the figure on the back or any kind of like summary of the accessories or anything like that. It's all about the presentation and the display of these. So I think these are more of a display piece and also a way for people that are new to collecting to get caught up on some characters that they may not have got years and years before. But there are some upsides to this, and we are going to get started with the Thor figure. Before we talk about our boy Hemsy, let's see what it says on the back of the packaging. The mighty Thor once again wields his thunder-powered hammer Mjolnir against a sinister gathering darkness that threatens to eclipse the 9 realms of the cosmos. I'm actually in the middle of watching Thor Dark World again in preparation for a reaction on my other channel, and Darcy. We need to get a Darcy figure in this wave. So my first impression unboxed is that this is a very large action figure. The Thor figure is very, very tall, and I'm really happy to have this because I got into collecting Marvel Legends about 2018, and I just never got a good solid regular Thor. I got Fat Thor, I got Ragnarok Thor where he's like a gladiator, I've got cartoon Thor, but never actually got the just the standard MCU Thor from the early movies. And first impression out of the box, it looks really good. Talking about the accessories, he comes with 2 action hands, like the open lightning summoning hands, and 2 gripping hands, so you can have Mjolnir on either side. Mjolnir looks fantastic, but my one has like a big blemish on the side, it looks like. So I don't know if that's something specific that's supposed to represent something, but it kind of sucks. But it's easy to turn it around the other way. But this is a lot better than the Mjolnir that we got with Mighty Thor from the Love and Thunder wave. He also comes with 2 different head sculpts, a smiling one and a just a stoic kind of head sculpt. I know these are new and they do look pretty good. They're great Hemsworth likeness, so that's I'm glad I waited out to get this, because I'm glad that these head sculpts don't look kind of tacky like some of the old ones did. There's some very, very minor paint application issues on this one, just like on the boots, like around the gold trimming, but nothing major. It doesn't sort of stick out or anything like that. So the paint application on all of these heads and on the figure itself look great. So looking at articulation, we do not get pinless on this figure. You do get your double jointed limbs and everything like that, but that's what I mean when I say I think this is just a straight up repaint of the old one with a new head sculpt. I'm not sure if it's a new cape as well, but I kind of like what they've done with this cape, because I mean, Thor is like I said at the start, he's a big heavy figure. Big upper body, hair, cape, very heavy at the top. So you got to have a good foundation with him, and it's hard to get a good foundation with that. The cape is a perfect little prop. They've got the size of where the cape goes down to. They've just nailed the length to the point where it's just a very good little way to prop up your figure. So putting him through the Tarantino test, I mean, he kind of passes. The feet aren't the best, but the cape kind of makes that a non-factor. So Tarantino gives it like a lukewarm thumbs up. In terms of head swaps, the Ravager Thor from the Love and Thunder wave doesn't quite fit on the peg. It's a very short peg. I think they've kind of changed a bit of the design of the Thor figure. So that head kind of sits on, but it doesn't pop on. So it's a great looking head, but the ones that you get with this figure are just as good as well in my opinion. Even the weird smiley one. Let's just say he's happy that he saw Mjolnir, shall we? So my final thoughts are that it's a very adequate MCU Thor figure and not much else. There's you can't really do a great deal about it, but if you want a Hemsworth representation on your shelf and you don't have it already, this is a pretty good place to get it. It's in retail at the moment. Is it shelf worthy? It will be shelf-worthy in rotations, I think. Every now and then I'll set up like a bit of an MCU Avengers display, and maybe I'll do that more often now that I've got the big fella back there looking in his Dark World glory. So shelf-worthy, but in a rotation. Next up is Black Widow. Let's have a read of her little blurb on the back. Working alongside Captain America, super spy Black Widow makes a discovery that hints at a sinister worldwide conspiracy and must do whatever it takes to counteract it. Captain America Winter Soldier is a fantastic movie, but my first impressions of this one out of the box is that it looks fantastic. This looks like a good Black Widow figure. It's got the right attire, the head scan is absolutely perfect. That's about where my enjoyment of this figure ends after my initial look at it. But before we get into all that, the accessories it comes with, she comes with 2 fisted hands, 2 gripping hands, like gun holding hands, which I'll talk about more in a moment. She also comes with the stinger effects, those blue blast effects, which I'm not really a fan of. And she comes with 2 very good head sculpts. That's definitely where the value of this figure is just in these head sculpts here. There's the long hair from the Captain America Winter Soldier movie that the figure is depicting. And then there's like a curlier hair, which, I don't know, I had a look and it looks like it's drier than her hair was in Iron Man 2, but it's not as dry as it was in Avengers Age of Ultron. So I think that means that it's Avengers Black Widow haircut from the first Avengers movie with the shorter style and the curls. I mean, looking at the paintwork of this, I mean, it's very minimal with paintwork because that's kind of her thing, but the SHIELD logo looks great. It looks great. It's not a terrible looking figure, but the articulation is where things start to go off the rails very quickly. So we've got double jointed pinless arms, which is interesting, but no double jointed pinless legs. And we've got these absolute god-awful Black Widow MCU boots. I mean, spoiler alert in the Tarantino test, this is an absolute fail. The bottom of these feet are actually smaller than the bottom of the feet of the Infinity War Black Widow with the blonde hair. That one is a slightly more updated body. This one looks like they've actually gone back to the original Captain America Winter Soldier figure and just reprinted that, even with all these terrible parts like these little tiny feet. So I don't know if there's some kind of like kit bash or something that I can do with the feet on this one just to make them a little bit more stable and a little bit more fun to pose. But not only that, the legs, they're very, very gummy. You can't even really get her in much of a pose without the legs kind of bowing and getting like very like movie, which makes it really hard to then get them in a straight position to even just get it to stand up at all. In terms of the hands that you get with it, they don't actually hold the guns very well. Like, they're just 2 different shaped parts. I don't know what the idea was behind that. I wonder if that was something that you know, was a problem with this figure on the first go around as well, and they just decided to keep it in for nostalgia. So like I said before, this absolutely fails the Tarantino test. The feet on this are just crap. They really are. They just don't really do at all what I want them to do at any time at all, which is a real shame because I need a good solid Black Widow here. I might end up putting the head on the MCU one. You can't even really swap the head onto the Infinity War version because the neck on that Black Widow is just too high up, and you have the exact same problem with the 20th or 60th anniversary Black Widow that just came out with all that amazing articulation. The head just sits a little bit too high. What you can do, you can sort of move the head forward and it creates a bit of a different angle, but it does sort of reduce the height on the neck. So if you stuff around her with it, you can get it if that's what you really want to do. But overall, this is a very underwhelming Marvel Legend. Is it shelf worthy? like I say, if there's an Avengers display going up, this is the Black Widow that I'm gonna use because those face sculpts just look so good. But I would not call this shelf worthy unless you've got literally the entire set, and this is the last one you need. And last of all, we've got Bruce Banner. That's pretty much it. There's not a lot to say about this figure, but let's read the back of his box anyway. Still struggling with the volatility of his alter ego, Bruce Banner must make peace with himself to help stop Thanos from wreaking havoc across the galaxy. The blurb makes this figure sound a lot more exciting than it really is. So the reason that I chose to spend the money on this instead of like Iron Man or War Machine or Spider-Man is because I love Thor Ragnarok. I have a Thor Ragnarok shelf and I don't have a good Banner for that. And he was a big part of that movie, not just as the Hulk, but as Bruce Banner as well. So this has a welcome place on my Thor Ragnarok shelf. And that's the reason why. It's a great head sculpt. I mean, the paintwork on the head looks really good. It's a great Mark Ruffalo. You've got pinless double-jointed elbows. You've got pinned double-jointed legs. And then we get to the Tarantino test, and it's got these absolute dog shit MCU suited feet. They do not bend enough. You can't really pose people with this without some kind of bullshit or trickery. And it's a real shame that Hasbro just keep using these terrible parts. We just had it with Black Widow. We've got the same problem here with Banner as well. So, I don't know. If someone's ever on like a investor's call with Hasbro, can you ask them if they can stop using parts that didn't work? Can they just stop putting those on every single figure that they put out? And unfortunately, the Skrull Talos figure, which is a great civilian body with good feet that actually stand up okay, unfortunately you can't really do a head swap on that because Talos's whole neck comes out because they have the green skin texture, the green skin tone for the Skrull form. So I'd love to be able to put this on that Talos body. I feel like it would look great, but Banner is going to be shelf worthy for me personally because I want him on that Thor Ragnarok shelf, but I would not call this figure shelf worthy unless for that exact reason. You just need a good Mark Ruffalo version of Bruce Banner on your shelf to complete the whole set. Then that's what this Infinity Saga wave and this whole line is kind of good for, is to fill in those gaps for those that, you know, may not have been collecting that entire time. But let me know in the comments what you thought about this one. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know your thoughts about the Infinity Saga wave. Let me know your thoughts on all my other videos as well. Engagement is the key. The more you talk to me, the more I talk back, the more YouTube goes, hey, people like this guy, and it pushes the video out to more people, and my thumbnail pops up in their recommendeds, and that's how the whole shit works. So I hope you guys do that. Appreciate the support, and as always, everyone, be well, stay safe, look after your figs. See you in the next video. Peace.